Hey guys, welcome into today's video. Prada Beauty just launched their new makeup line. I believe they launched 7 items. I picked up most of the makeup stuff that launched, so I thought it would be fun to sit down and try it out. I'm always down to try a new brand, especially a luxury brand, so that's what we're gonna do today. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Carrie. Hello. I would love for you to stick around, but while you're here, let's hop into it. So right now I think everything is just retailing on Harrods. That is where I picked it up at. I don't believe that it's retailing anywhere else for sale at the moment. The 7 things that they have launched, and everything seems to be refillable that's in the makeup items. So the first thing that they had was the Reveal Skin Optimizing Foundation, and I'll throw a picture up here for you guys, and that also does come with a refill. They have the Dimensions Durable Multi-Effect Eyeshadow, and it looks like it comes in 6 different color stories, but it's also a refillable palette. They came out with the Augmented Skin Cleanser that retails for $96. I passed on that. I passed on the 2 skincare items that came out, and then the other one was an Augmented Skin Face Cream, and that retailed for $313. The refill is $249, and then they came out with the Augmented Skin Serum, which retails for $358. Those skincare items that I mentioned, the cleanser and the serum, they don't appear to have refills for sale. And then it looks like they have 3 different lip products, but right now I'm only finding 1, but when I purchased them on the website there were definitely 3. So they have the Hyper Matte Lipstick, then they also have the Soft Matte Lipstick, and then they had a Balm, which I ended up picking up, but I no longer see it on Harrods website, so I don't know if that's something that like sold out, or I don't know, it's just missing. I searched Prada, so maybe that's what happened. Anyway, I picked up 4 of these 7 items. So I did get the foundation, the balm, one of the soft matte lipsticks, and then one of the eyeshadow color stories. Let's go item by item. I think I want to talk about the balm first, and since I can't find it, I can tell you that it retailed for $42.07. That was including tax. It appears that it retails for $42 normally. I don't even remember what this looks like. All of the packaging is exactly the same. The shade is just universal, and also this is refillable as well. So here is the component. It's pretty sturdy. It's not super weighted. It does have a magnetic closure, and here is the balm. I don't know if you can see those tiny little ridges in there. They are so little and fine. Pretty interesting. So I think this only comes in universal. I figured we could throw this on now before we put on the rest of the makeup. It does have Prada in there. It's very highly scented, so it's highly fragranced. I can even taste it. All of these products appear to have been made in France. This balm has a 24-month shelf life, and it seems like most of their makeup items are gonna come with a circle and then have just like the square around them. I feel like that's gonna be their signature kind of Prada Beauty aesthetic. Let's move on into, I think, the eyeshadow palette next, and then I'll apply that before I apply the foundation, I think, just to be safe, because I don't know the formula at all. This component with the palette itself retails for $74. I did mention to you guys that there were 6 different color stories, which I actually thought was kind of cool for our first launch for a luxury brand, and I really liked all of the color stories. Here's the packaging, very reflective. It's not overly weighted, and it's not metal, it is plastic. It appears to just be a magnetic closure. Here is the inside. It does come with a mirror. These shades look a little bit different than what I was looking at online. Let me pull up this color story. This is also made in France with a 24-month shelf life. So, okay, it's pretty similar. I feel like some of the tones, if you can kind of see that, are a little bit different. This looked like a deeper red on the right side, and this looks more orange on the left. And then even the shimmer shade looks slightly different. So not that I'm disappointed, these are beautiful tones, but I kind of figured this would be a little bit more mauve, and it's kind of on the gray side. So this is a really like cool tone palette with one pop of kind of warmth over here. So yes, they retail for $74. Again, is removable, so you know, you can just purchase the eyeshadow change out all on its own, and that retails for $59. However, I have to kind of say, I don't necessarily think that this is the most luxe packaging. Like, not necessarily like you know, a Victoria Beckham or Westman Atelier. Like, those are very weighted and very luxe packaging. This is plastic. Like, this is very, very lightweight, in case you guys were wondering. So I don't know that the component itself is necessarily worth the, you know, nearly $20 extra that you're paying. I have primed my eyes, so I feel good about just jumping right into this. I am definitely gonna use my standard eye look, I think, and I'm gonna ignore these brushes in here, but I'm gonna take this shade all over as a transition, this one in the crease. I'm definitely gonna try and deepen this outer corner, and I really hope that it ends up being a pretty pigmented, good buildable shade, and then this one is gonna go all over the lid. I have to say, as far as like having one lighter transition, one deeper, one kind of crease color, and then one that's a really nice shimmer, I think that's nice. And by the way, you guys, this shimmer is not bad. The way that that's swatched, and it's light reflecting, but it has some real pigment to it, like, it's beautiful, and it has a nice base to it as well. So I'm really hopeful that the quality of this is good. I'm just gonna tap that off. Okay, let's see what this kind of taupe shade gets us in terms of pigmentation. It's nice, it's blendable, it's soft. In fact, I like this color story. I kind of feel like this color story makes sense to me. Sometimes I feel like luxury shadows, they don't necessarily look like they're meant for building depth. I'm going into this very, very orangey shade on a Rephr 16 brush. It's really pigmented. And honestly, there's just not a lot of fallout. Okay, let's build into the crease. Wow, it has good pigmentation. It's soft, but it's got good pigment. And honestly, it is not patching. So far, I feel like the quality is really good. I'm going in with a really light hand too. I want to swatch this shade all on its own. It's honestly, it feels like a cream. So let's read the description of this. So it says it's a highly pigmented formula. It lasts up to 12 hours, consumer tested on 52 participants. So the one in the middle is a satin shade. It says the red one is a soft matte. Then it says the number 3, the metallic or the shimmer, is a metal foil. And then the one up top is called a hyper matte. So that's kind of how they're doing their lipsticks as well. Hyper matte, soft matte. So it feels like they're kind of calling the finishes of the shadows the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna leave this like this. I'm gonna take one of my Packer brushes and I'm gonna dig into that. It's almost a plummy shade, but yeah, it is plum. That's how it looks on the fingers. I can definitely get my fingers into these pans, so that's a plus. My bigger fingers, I have a feeling this shade is gonna be on the more buildable side. Just softer, but you never know. I could be surprised. It's got decent pigment. It really does. Like I said, these almost feel like creams, so there's no like fallout. And even this deeper shade isn't like really transferring. I'm not sure that this deep plum is really going with this kind of like fiery bright orange. Like, I don't know if those two shades really mix together, but of course you don't have to mix them. I was just kind of trying to use all the shades to see how they performed. I feel like I'm just gonna leave that like it is, and then I'm gonna take this foiled shade, wow, all over the lid. Wow, this foiled shade is not a bad shimmer formula from Luxury Beauty. It's got a great base. It's super soft. It's light reflecting, and I'm digging this tone. This tone is so beautiful, and just, I don't know, it's really sophisticated. I don't necessarily love the heck out of that plummy shade. I get a lot of tones that change color from the pan to my eyes, especially when you start diffusing it out. So I feel like this like deeper plum in the pan is definitely pulling more purple in my eyes. I don't dislike it, I just don't know if I love it with these other tones. I really can't wait to see what it looks like when I put on mascara at the end. So let me finish the other eye off camera and then we'll come back and we will do the foundation. Okay, the other eye is done. I want to take a second to give some updates on this. So I like that they threw in this brighter warm tone shade in here because I think you can do some one and done looks with this, but I don't think it pairs well tone-wise with the other ones. I thought it was going to be more red, so I feel like if it was a deeper red it would have looked better, but I love that these two shades in here can be paired together very easily. I ended up kind of going back into this shade and using a much smaller, like tinier tipped brush to get into this pan to really dig into the shade, and that kind of made the difference in building it up. I was able to build it up easier when I went in with like a thinner, smaller packing brush. These are really pigmented, so it really stains these brushes. I wish this pan size was a little bit bigger. I think that's my only criticism of this particular shade, but this foiled shadow is actually really beautiful. Surprisingly, I think it's really good quality from the first, you know, formulation of a luxury brand going into, you know, their real kind of makeup beauty line. But also it's really easily picked up on a finger and a brush. I did use a brush on this eye and it picks up really easily. These two tones right here, the plum and this one, are just kind of beautiful on their own, but I ended up taking this shade back into the crease even more to kind of get rid of this shade right here, which I do feel like kind of feels like a cream. I kind of stand by that the red feels a little cream-like. Anyway, overall, I'm really thrilled with the quality of this. I'm always very skeptical when it comes to luxury eyeshadow quality and pigmentation and then the shimmer formula. Sometimes they're just not very light reflective, and then sometimes they just have too much sparkle in them and they're fun, but like you can't grab for it for everyday wear. I feel like you could with this one. I'm just a little disappointed that the packaging is kind of cheap. I feel like for Prada and for $74, I would have expected more. But what I do love about the color stories on each of the palettes is that every one of them seems to have a metallic shade, or what they refer to as a metallic shade. That's it on the eyeshadow palette. I want to update you guys on this lip balm. It's basically faded off at this point. It kind of pilled up on my lips. Like, it feels really hydrating. It's just not a high shine or long lasting. So I feel like it's kind of just a splurge item. I don't necessarily think the formulation is anything to write home about in terms of lip balms. I'm really excited for the foundation. Let's move on into the foundation because my face is so red this evening. I really want to cover this up. So as I mentioned before, this is also refillable. It appears that everything but, like I told you, that the serum and the cleanser are not refillable, which I guess they make sense, but the cream is refillable. So the foundation actually retails for less than the eyeshadow palette. They do retail for $56 a piece. This does come in 30 shades, which I think is not half bad for a brand new luxury line. In terms of comparisons to other first luxury launches and how poorly they've done their shade ranges, I feel like 30 is more than they normally come out with. However, it seems to be that there's really only two like deep shades, so this foundation is not super inclusive. However, it could be a pretty light coverage, and so it could be that it's pretty expandable. It really just depends. So this is the Reveal Skin Optimizing Foundation. It's all about dimensions. It says when it comes to your skin, the focus is luminosity, tone, and texture. Infused with vitamins and niacinamide, the lightweight formula helps you achieve a smoother and brighter complexion while bringing hydration. Okay, so the brand's IRL microfilter technology features a molecule that crystallizes once it contact with your visage, creating a transfer-resistant blurred effect for the perfect everyday base. So it says it's medium coverage, actually. Luminous finish, vitamin C, vitamin E. It illuminates and hydrates with 24-hour wear, and it optimizes complexion. This is again made in France, and this has a 12-month shelf life. So it is your standard 30 mils or 1 fluid ounce. I was having trouble with the shade matching, which happens when they don't provide descriptions. And so I picked up LN15, which actually, kind of looking at it now, this is probably a fine shade for me. Again, it's got this square around the circle. This one has kind of a chrome top, and this is like gold. And this, again, is plastic. So I don't know. I kind of figured a glass bottle for a foundation that's $56. This is like a really weighted top, but it's not magnetic or anything. And this just like pulls out. Oh, this is glass, but the packaging is plastic. Okay. I don't know if I understand that completely, but that's how it comes out. So I guess if you want to keep plastic Prada packaging, you can. All right, let's test this formula and see how lightweight it is. Oh, okay.
Okay, now you're gonna see what Daddy did for me. He
No, he got you that one?
Yes! Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. It is a pretty runny formula. I think I'm probably gonna start with this much, and I'm gonna take, I think, that much on the right side of my face, and I'm gonna go in with a clean brush instead of a sponge, which is usually how I apply it, but I wanted to, I think, just build it up. Wow, it's highly fragranced, if you could imagine Prada would be. I mean, all they have in their beauty line so far has really been fragrances. That seems to add up to me, just like perfume. I don't know if it smells like one of their perfumes, but it definitely smells like perfume. I mean, it's really pretty. It's got a natural, radiant finish. I don't know that it's medium coverage right away. Let's take the rest of what is on the back of my hand and just apply it to some of my redness to see if it can really build up. I don't want it to get too heavy, but I want to see if it's buildable. It's nice. I do not like the way that it's sitting on my nose though. It's looking a little bit dry right here. It's very soft. Like even on my swatch on my hand, it's a really, really, really soft formula. It almost feels like kind of a powdery finish. It has a really light luminosity to it. It's not overdone. I feel like it definitely is a buildable formula though. A lot of foundations that are kind of more whipped in texture, just maybe a little bit heavier in their consistency overall, don't always sit the greatest across my nose. So that's usually kind of my trouble area, just that it doesn't kind of sink into my pores. I just prefer this really light layer. I went in even lighter on this side than I did the right side, and I just really prefer this more natural, lighter coverage. You can build it up, but I prefer this side more. What do you guys think? This was kind of less coverage and this was a little bit more. I feel like it has a tendency to feel a little bit heavy when you build it up. That's the only thing. So far, like the first application is really nice. Lighter coverage, seems to look really nice, blended in with a brush. So far I'm digging it, but it's really strongly scented. So if that turns you guys off like immediately, it probably would not be a foundation that you would enjoy because there's no getting over the scent whatsoever. I'm really sad that they didn't launch a blush in their first launch because I'm such a blush fanatic, but I digress. Let me go put on my concealer. I'm gonna throw on just some of my favorites, my Dior products, and then let's come back and we're gonna play with just the final product. We're gonna do the soft matte lip, buildable weightless lip color. Okay, I actually put concealer and powder on, but just for funsies, I picked up an Iconic London multi-use cheek glow, or maybe it's the Kiss by the Sun, and this one's in the shade So Cheeky, and I have not tested this yet, but I hauled it in my latest Sephora haul, and I really wanted to try this on. It's a product I already swatched, but I have not tested it yet, and it's a product that's like a multi-use product, so it's a kind of a cheek glowy product, and they come in different shades, but it had the Iconic London on there, but it was just kind of like an overspray. I really want to test this as like a multi-use bronzer slash blush. I don't know if I should like you know, tap it off. Wow. That's really pretty. It's like an all-in-one glow. Like, I don't think you even need a highlighter with this. It's really pretty. I think you could even skip bronzer if you wanted. I don't know if you could just use this just as bronzer, but it's gorgeous. Someone on one of my videos did comment that they've really been enjoying this product, and I have been loving Iconic London products this year. Like, their launches have all been, I think they just came out with a new lip product, and I do want to pick that up. But the highlighter that they came out with and this so far, this is really pretty. It doesn't like emphasize or overemphasize the texture. There's no sparkles in it or anything. It just has this really nice light sheen. Plus it's like this super beautiful soft formula. It basically feels like you're touching water. So that feels really nice. And by the way, the powder on top of the foundation, like, it just made it really airbrushed. I want to tell you guys just like how smooth it looks on my skin. It's very smoothing. It's not like a heavy texture that like sits on my face funny. So far this foundation is working really well. If this is the first time you guys are seeing one of my videos, I keep a lot of foundations in my collection, but I have pretty finicky skin and I tend to reach for the same foundations over and over. Only a couple, like a select few, that I feel like really perfect my skin. So I feel like this is so beautiful. In some areas it looks just really, really flattering. And then I forgot to mention shade to you guys. That LN15 for me really works well, but I don't think that the deeper shade range is good enough because I don't think the formula is that expandable. So that's that on the foundation. Let's go into this lipstick and we're going to talk a little bit about this. I went off the page, so let me get back there. This retails for $42. So far right now, it looks like it comes in 8 shades. I just read this now. Dabbed onto your cheeks, this lipstick can double as a natural looking blush. It says, in taking a soft approach to a matte finish, Prada Beauty creates something utterly unique in the soft matte monochrome lipstick, delivering buildable coverage each of the 13 shades. That is not what's listed here. Oh, I guess they must have different shades for the soft matte formula and then the hyper matte formula. Interesting. Okay. So it says it's formulated with a white base and only 3 additional pigments to recall the luminosity and lightness of the label's signature nylon fabric. Okay. Offering a respectful nod to the house's rich heritage. That's not all. Through bifidus extract and jojoba oil ensures a smooth application and comfortable finish. So it's buildable coverage. It is bifidus extract and jojoba oil to reinforce lip barrier function. And this again was made in France, and the shelf life on this one is also 24 months. So let's open this and see if the packaging is different than the Balm. They're the same. It's definitely the top that's weighted. The magnet component is what's heavy. This is very, very light. So same exact thing as the Balm. It is a metal, but it's just very, very light. Like the inside of it is plastic. Here is the same kind of ridged surface as the Balm was, and then the Prada imprint in there. It's really pretty. I have mine in the shade, and I totally forgot to tell you guys, blush. That's funny. Okay, well now you guys know that you can use this lip product as a blush. There is it swatched. It has a little bit of luminosity to it though. A little bit. So I thought about putting on a lip liner, but I don't want to taint it. Oh, wow, that's really creamy. Let's just dab some on the cheeks, shall we? Shall we just play? We shall. Let's see how well we can pounce this in. Oh, well, it blends out nicely. I don't know, you can't really tell what I just did, but it feels like it would be a nice formula to use as blush. I wish I had read that before I applied my blush. The soft matte is so, oh, it's so comfy. It's really comfortable. I hate this shade on me, and I usually do a really poor job picking lipsticks. So let me like darken this up just a little bit with some liner. I try and stay away from peach shades or too much of a peach shade because I feel like it kind of washes out my lips and just doesn't look overall flattering. I'm just topping it with a little bit of Balm, just to give it a little bit of shine on top of the color. It's a really, really comfortable soft matte formula. It doesn't dry your lips out or doesn't feel like too heavy of a formula. It's very powdery and very smooth. Let's talk final thoughts. I'm a fan overall. I wasn't sure what to expect coming up here. It could have been a hit or miss, or it could have just been okay, but I feel like it was a hit. I feel like everything individually met or exceeded my expectations. I feel like the eyeshadow palette just on its own is the kind of pigmentation that I like. I feel like I mentioned all the things that I would have slightly changed about it, but for a first launch, like, it was really good in my opinion. The foundation, the foundation is so pretty. I don't usually walk out of a first impressions on foundation and go, oh yeah, that's beautiful. Like, I usually have to sit with it for a while, or, you know, I usually have to look in the mirror 36 times or let it really sink into my skin. I just think it looks so good on my whole complexion. And I even feel like this side where I built it up still looks really good. And it's sinking into my nose a little bit better as I continue to kind of sit here, instead of it looking drier as it continues to sit, which is the other thing that happens. The lipstick was very comfortable, and now knowing that you can use this, or it can also be used as blush, I would try that. If you guys were picking that up and were interested, definitely try it. The only thing that I wasn't overly impressed with is the balm. It didn't have enough real kind of like long-lasting power. It was nourishing, it was just really quick. It faded off before I had really even started, you know, applying most of my makeup. So that's the one thing that I would say is a skip. If you're interested in getting anything, the balm is just, to me, not something that I would honestly have wasted my money on, or I feel like you guys would be wasting your money on. I will say though that the packaging is not my favorite. I did mention that several times, that everything being plastic is just a little bit strange, but you know, of course this is glass, so probably I like this best as it relates to kind of everything else. Like, you know, it's not necessarily something I think of keeping as luxe packaging when it's kind of like plastic and very lightweight like that. But you guys, I would love to know your thoughts. I'm dying, I'm anxious. I want to know what you think. I want to know if you thought about getting this, if you've already picked it up. I did get it, I think, pretty quickly on launch day, so hopefully I'll get this video up pretty quickly. And anyone that might have gotten something, maybe you haven't even tried it yet, so if you're watching this video and any of it helps you, hopefully you go into it with a little bit more confidence. Again, would just love to hear your comments on this collection and Prada in general. I am out of here, you guys. If you are new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. I'm out of here, and until next time, bye.